The moment everything went silent. What really happened when Sir Cliff Richard walked off live TV? Intro, the moment that shocked millions. The studio lights were bright. The audience was calm. The hosts were smiling. At first, everything seemed perfectly normal. Sir Cliff Richard, one of Britain's most beloved music legends, sat comfortably on the loose women panel sofa. A man whose voice had defined generations. A performer who had spent over 6 decades in the public eye. A knight of the realm. A household name. But within minutes, something shifted. The smiles faded. The tone changed. And then, unexpectedly, Sir Cliff Richard stood up. Without shouting, without drama, without warning, he walked off, live on television. And just like that, a moment meant to celebrate a legendary career turned into one of the most talked about talk show moments in recent memory. So what really happened? Why did Sir Cliff Richard leave the set? And why are people still arguing about it today? This is the full story. Chapter 1. A legend walks into the studio. Sir Cliff Richard was not new to television interviews. He had faced journalists, critics, fans, and skeptics for decades. From his early rock and roll days in the 1950s to his evolution into one of Britain's most enduring entertainers, he had learned how to navigate fame. But Loose Women is not like other shows. It's casual, it's conversational, and it's known for being honest, sometimes brutally so. The panel that day included outspoken personalities. Women unafraid to challenge guests. Women who pride themselves on saying what others won't. For some guests, that honesty is refreshing. For others, it can feel like an ambush. Sir Cliff arrived expecting a warm, respectful conversation about his career, his life, and his legacy. What he encountered felt very different. Chapter 2. The interview begins smoothly. At first, everything flowed naturally. The hosts praised his achievements. They spoke about his decades-long career. They mentioned his influence on British music. Sir Cliff smiled politely. He thanked them. He responded calmly. But beneath the surface, tension was quietly building. As the conversation progressed, the questions began to shift. From celebration, to reflection, from music, to controversy. And that's when the mood in the room changed. Chapter 3. The questions that changed everything. At some point, the discussion moved toward Sir Cliff's past controversies, including the highly publicized investigation that once surrounded him, despite no charges ever being brought. For Sir Cliff, this period of his life was deeply painful. His home had been raided. His name had been splashed across headlines. His reputation, built over a lifetime, had been questioned publicly. Though legally cleared, the emotional scars remained. And on Loose Women, those scars were reopened. What some panelists saw as fair questions, Sir Cliff appeared to see as unnecessary revisiting of trauma. His posture changed. His smile disappeared. His voice grew quieter. Viewers watching closely could sense it. Something was wrong. Chapter 4. A line is crossed. According to reactions and interpretations of the clip, one particular comment or follow-up question struck a nerve. It wasn't shouted. It wasn't aggressive. But it carried weight. It suggested judgment. It implied doubt. It reopened wounds. Sir Cliff paused. There was a brief silence, the kind that feels heavy, even through a television screen. Then he spoke. Not angrily, not loudly, but firmly. He expressed discomfort. He questioned the need for the line of questioning. And he made it clear, he had had enough. Moments later, he stood up. Chapter 5. The walk-off. No dramatic exit music played. No shouting match followed. Sir Cliff Richard simply walked away. Cameras struggled to follow. Hosts appeared stunned. The studio froze. For live television, it was a nightmare. For viewers, it was shocking. A knighted national icon, walking off a daytime talk show. Social media exploded within minutes. Chapter 6. The internet erupts. Clips of the moment spread rapidly. Headlines screamed, Cliff Richard storms off live TV. Legend walks out after on-air clash. Loose Women interview turns explosive. Comment sections filled instantly. Some viewers sided with Sir Cliff. They argued he was disrespected. They felt the questions were unfair. They believed the show crossed a line. Others disagreed. They argued public figures should expect tough questions. They defended the host's right to ask. They said walking off looked evasive. The internet did what it always does. It divided. Chapter 7. Was it really a clash? Here's where things get complicated. Despite viral headlines, there was no screaming match. No insults. No raised voices. The clash, was quiet, emotional rather than explosive. And that's what made it powerful. This wasn't a celebrity meltdown. It was a man choosing to leave rather than relive pain. And that distinction matters. Chapter 8: The history behind the pain. To understand the moment, you have to understand Sir Cliff Richard's past. Years earlier, he had been publicly investigated in a case that dominated headlines. Though he was never charged, the damage was immense. His privacy was invaded. His reputation was questioned. His mental health suffered. He later described the experience as one of the darkest periods of his life. So when those topics resurfaced on television, unexpectedly, and in front of millions, it reopened emotional wounds that never fully healed. Chapter 9: Why this moment resonated. This wasn't just about one interview. It touched on bigger questions. How much does the public own celebrities? When does journalism become intrusion? Should cleared individuals be forced to relive allegations forever? Where is the line between accountability and cruelty? Sir Cliff's walk-off became symbolic, not just of one man's frustration, but of a broader cultural debate. Chapter 10: The show responds. Following the incident, Loose Women continued as normal. There was no official apology. No dramatic statement. No confirmation of wrongdoing. From the show's perspective, it was just an interview that didn't go as planned. From Sir Cliff's perspective, it was a boundary crossed. And from the public's perspective, it was unforgettable. Chapter 11: Media spin and clickbait. As days passed, many videos exaggerated the incident. Some claimed he was kicked off. Others claimed he was humiliated. Some suggested shouting matches that never happened. The truth was quieter, and far more human. But in the age of viral media, quiet truths don't trend. Drama does. Chapter 12: A man, not just a legend. What's often forgotten in moments like these is that behind the fame is a human being. A man who spent decades giving joy through music. A man who endured public scrutiny few could survive. A man who reached a moment where he simply said, enough. Walking off wasn't weakness. For many, it was strength. Chapter 13: Why this moment still matters. Years later, people still discuss this moment. Not because of outrage, but because it raised uncomfortable questions about empathy, media ethics, and the cost of fame. It forced viewers to ask, if this can happen to Sir Cliff Richard, who else could it happen to? Final thoughts: the silence spoke louder. In the end, the most powerful part of the moment wasn't what was said. It was what wasn't. No shouting, no insults, just a man standing up and walking away. Sometimes, silence says everything.